Welcome, guys. We've just witnessed the Monaco Grand Prix, and what a brilliant weekend of action we got. Brilliant from start to finish. The qualifying was intense and super. The race, it delivered also. We got brilliant race starts, drama with plenty of penalties, keeping you guessing of who's going to happen, what's going to happen next. A safety car, a red flag, another restart, and we've seen a champion rise. Now it's that time where I go through and rate each and every one of the drivers and how they got over the whole weekend and my prediction review. Let's get to it. Just quickly, guys, before we get into the video, if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. 98% of you that watch and enjoy the content are not subscribed, so it would be massively appreciated. I also do watch along, so join along for them. And also give the video a like. Massively appreciated. Thank you. Let's jump straight to the driver ratings, guys. And as ever, we always start with the race winner, Kimi Antonelli. And this kid was absolutely phenomenal this weekend. There's no two ways about it. He's shown his actual championship material. It's proven now over a number of different tracks, and this weekend not only did he just make it 5 wins in a row, it's his first Grand Slam. He equals the best that Lewis Hamilton achieved with 5 race wins in a row, even with a super dominant Mercedes, 7-time world champion. And this kid, new on the block, I mean, he was meant to be playing second fiddle to his more experienced teammate, and he's thrown that completely in the bin. He just has this huge spring in his step, and that qualifying lap under pressure, that car didn't have it in it. It was a champion's drive in the sense that that car over one lap didn't have that performance, and the fact that Kimi pulled that off was absolutely phenomenal. And like I said, a Grand Slam, pole position, led every single lap, the fastest lap. To deal with all the issues behind him, safety car, red flag, a second restart, and the nerves with that, and the goal of a glorious Monaco victory. It's one of the Triple Crown, so no easy feat. Not many drivers get to do that, and Kimi is absolutely flawless this weekend. He was composed, he was precise, and the way he just ran away, even when he, on the second restart, he'd made 6 or 7 seconds easy on Lewis Hamilton, pumping in purple sectors, so much so that Bono got on the radio to say, look, kid, just calm down. Toto saying, again on the radio, we just need you to get to the end of the race. You're 30 seconds at one point ahead of the closest second place driver behind you. He'd lapped everybody bar third place. He was just phenomenal, and Tota just held down to him. I think he was just in flow state, and that is something. He was brilliant this weekend, and there's no surprise here that it's a 10 out of 10 for Kimi Antonelli. Second place man, Lewis Hamilton, and what a weekend it turned out to be for him. Second place in the race, second now in the championship also. The man taking the fight to Kimi Antonelli, 66 points behind, no less. But never say never with this formula, the way things might change into the future. But Lewis, very, very happy with his weekend. Not the best qualifying, I'd say. He was in third place. The Ferraris were the team tipped to be 1 and 2. And they'd shown that pace in Friday practice, and they were actually a little bit disappointed to qualify on the second row of the grid. But he out-qualified Charles Leclerc, which someone as Charles' teammate hasn't done since ever at Monaco. So Lewis overcoming his qualifying hurdles against his teammate. He was really thankful to Fred Vasseur, who he said moved mountains, heaven and earth to get what he wanted at Ferrari, and he's hoping that his master is pleased with him with 2 podiums, back-to-back 2 second places. He wasn't fantastic in the race, you've got to say, but I don't think the Ferrari had the place of Kimi Antonelli. Lewis chewed through his tyres in the first stint really, really quickly, then got that needless or strange, I mean, it's hard to say it's a needless it is always needless to get a speeding penalty in the pit lane. 5 seconds. He got rescued because of Lance Stroll going into the wall, which caused a safety car, and the team's decision to pit both him and Charles Leclerc, and obviously he managed to see his 5-second penalty out. Helped because 4th place man George Russell had a scruffy race and was nearly 40 seconds back, so Ferrari could do what they wanted in terms of that, but his 2nd place looked at risk but for that safety car, because he would have been behind Charles Leclerc, who had closed to within that 5-second gap. And that kind of came to his rescue a little bit to save that 2nd place. Otherwise, I think it would have been a little bit disappointed to finish 3rd when he got up into 2nd after the speeding penalty. Like 6-7 other drivers got throughout the race. 13 speeding penalties handed out this weekend. So it wasn't just the 6 or 7 in the race. It was 4 or 5 before that. So there was reason to be cautious pre the race anyway, but I didn't like anybody got the memo on that one. Lewis Hamilton, though, he can be very happy with his weekend. Now 2nd in the championship, 2nd in the race, equals the 8 podiums in Monaco as his idol Ayrton Senna did. So overall, a really solid weekend for him. I'm giving him a 9 out of 10. 3rd place man Isaac Hadjar, and hats off to this kid, because what a difficult drive he had. He had a broken car for pretty much the entire Grand Prix. He held George Russell back brilliantly. He was 2 seconds a lap slower than the 3 cars ahead of him. Good start, got him past George, and from there onwards, or did he's already ahead of George? But either way, he was absolutely brilliant. Had to worry about the steward's decision looming over his head pretty much the whole Grand Prix. He had a safety car infringement that was similar to Lewis Hamilton had, but that was cleared. And then he had a red flag infringement to worry about. They had potentially looked to change spark plugs and the glow plugs in the engine of the car under red flag, which is not allowed. But actually, the team took the car apart. They didn't actually change the parts. They put the old parts back in, and that's what saved Isaac Hadjar from a penalty. Had they changed them parts, then definitely a penalty would have been incoming on that. And lucky for him, whatever stopped Red Bull at that time, whether it was actually we're not allowed to do this, or it was time constraints where they didn't want to risk changing it and losing out. But power issues throughout the whole Monaco Grand Prix, and if you want to have them issues, this is the race where you kind of can afford to do it, because you can be on the defensive. Once George Russell got past on the restart and Pierre Gasly, I thought he might be a sitting duck. Lucky for him, though, the two that did get past both had penalties, and for me, a well-deserved P3. He was brilliant, fought for his life, and a brilliant podium for him. I'm giving him a 9 out of 10. 4th place man Oscar Piastri, and he had a lonely race. He was absolutely nowhere, and then he can, at one point, if Hadjar had got a penalty also, he was on for a podium despite running behind the 3 guys ahead of him that all ended up with penalties, and almost would have looked into a podium. Didn't really deserve it. 4th was by far and above the best McLaren could have hoped for. They weren't good in qualifying. They were really poor in the race. An awful lot of work for them to get through now, McLaren. They made that big step forward, the front wing, and the first time we've kind of seen updates not really work at McLaren. The front wing didn't work in Canada. They didn't bring an awful lot of upgrades to Monaco, understandably. But they've got work to do. They need upgrades to get this car back up to where it needs to be. A tough weekend. He's beaten his teammate, though, and probably that's the best he could have hoped for. I'm giving him a 7 out of 10. 5th place man, Liam Lawson, and a really strong weekend from this man in the Racing Bulls. The man with no chairs. He absolutely flew in the seat of that Racing Bull, though. He was brilliant this weekend. Nearly didn't make it to the grid, and under that sort of pressure and last minute not just being in the rhythm, and that can really knock a driver off, especially around Monaco. Luckily, the team got the car on the grid, and he pulled off a really solid race. stayed out of trouble, but he's, despite you sort of benefiting from the red flag and also the penalties in front of him, I think he was always in for a top 10 and a really solid weekend. He put himself in that position in qualifying and well-deserved P5. I'm giving him a 9 out of 10. Sixth place man, Arvid Lindblad, and he looked a little bit off the pace and struggling really around Monaco. So to get to this position is absolutely pure luck, but he kept it out the wall, kept out of trouble. No safety car infringements or speeding in the pit lane infringements for him. He went 67 laps on the medium, and I think that's, you've got to give him credit for that, because Lewis Hamilton chewed through his medium tyres within about 29 laps. Others went to about lap 35. So to go 67 laps without a tyre change, he went for the Hail Mary. It pulled off and paid off for him, didn't it? Because the safety car came out, the red flag came out. He didn't pit, but he got to change his tyres, so he got a position without making a pit stop. It doesn't happen very often, but it got himself a top 10 finish right behind his teammate. So the result for just being persevering, sticking with it, trusting the instinct of the team is not easily done, but a really, really promising result for him. I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. Seventh place man, Pierre Gasly, and in the Grand Prix that's closest to be his home race, he was on for a podium, and their team have asked for a right of review for the 2 10-second penalties that he had to take. I'm not sure what that can achieve, or if the FIA can reverse that result now and then grant him the podium. So watch and wait and find out on that one for him. But if there has been a malfunction on the speeding gun, Pierre Gasly was the most hard done by, because a podium in third place is where he crossed the line, and he's ended up finishing in 7th place in the end because of the 10-second penalty. 2 penalties he got for speeding in the pit lane twice, one under the pit stop and then once while he followed the safety car through the pit lane, when all cars were following the safety car through the pit lane. So really unlucky with both actually. He was very, very sure that he pressed the pit limiter way before the pit lane line. So unsure what's happened with that one, and that's why the right of review has been requested. But he drove a brilliant race. He was ahead of Lando Norris, frustrated him for pretty much all the race until Norris broke down in the end. And he did absolutely everything that he could do. He was saying these are the weekends where, if we pull off and things fall our way, a podium's possible. And he was heartbroken by that penalty. Let's see what happens with it. But other than that, I think it was a really good weekend from Pierre Gasly, back up as best of the rest, like we've seen for much of the season. He had a bit of a drop for the last couple of Grand Prix. This was absolutely the performance he needed. Got robbed potentially out of a podium. It's hard to say that because so many other drivers got penalties and taken them. It's going to be difficult for the FIA, isn't it? Because if you withdraw the penalties for Pierre Gasly, then what about George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Oscar Piastri, Franco Colapinto? The list is endless in speeding, pit lane speed limit penalties over Monaco. So I don't expect much from it. Let's wait and find out. But Gasly can take promise from. He delivered a really strong performance this weekend. I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. 8th place man, Alex Albon, and a much better weekend for him and the Williams. More better than even I anticipated at one point. He qualified well, just outside of the top 10. So when a topsy-turvy crazy race happens, he was always in prime position to nick some points. He'll be miffed at the team, actually, and he was drawing the race because he sacrificed his race to help Carlos Sainz. He was then passed by Arvid Lindblad, and so he should have really potentially been a couple of places further up than he's finished. So he's in order to try and help his teammate gain and get into the top 10, which was actually a good strategy call in the race from the Williams team, made absolute sense. It's kind of backfired on them because of the Arvid got past. and also the penalties and everything else that happened with the guys in front of him. And I think Alex was quick enough to make or take advantage of them penalties. And really, for all intents and purposes, he should have finished at least behind Liam Lawson, because he was fighting with him fairly well throughout that race. Much better race pace for Williams, much better race weekend for Alex Albon. Probably disappointed in the team call because Sainz got punted out and he lost positions because of the team call. So like he said, sometimes you've got to just drive your race as a driver, and this is one where trying to help a teammate actually cost the team more points than they gained. So but disappointing on that front, but a much better weekend. I'm giving Alex a 7 out of 10. Ninth place man, Esteban Ocon, and it was a difficult weekend for the Haas team this weekend. Didn't quite have the pace of the guys up ahead of him, and even throughout the race he was within tier 3 category of Formula 1, alongside comfortably ahead of the Aston Martins, but not really challenging anybody up ahead of him. Pretty lonely race, really helped out by the red flags that got him up and all the penalties that went around him that got him up into the top 10. Turned out to be a P9 in the end. So not the best race. It was a difficult track for the Haas team. Neither him nor Ollie got on well with the car. He was closer to Ollie in qualifying. Contact with his teammate on lap 1 didn't help. Behrman had to pit, I think, for a new nose. So that will clearly not go down well in the team. But he's picked up a point. An average weekend. I'm giving him a 6 out of 10. 10th place finisher, Fernando Alonso. And yes, obviously it was going to be Fernando that gets the first point for Aston Martin. The kid has been phenomenal. The ever-aging rookie. He's been brilliant this season. Deserves the point for just persevering, keeping that smile on the face where the car is absolutely horrendous. It's a proper dog, is this Aston Martin. This is the track where it's not power sensitive. We can't blame, or they can't blame, Honda, and the car is just not good, is it? It's not good in traction, not good in slow corners, not got the downforce, not got the grip. In every facet, this car fails. An absolute disappointment from Aston Martin. But Fernando Alonso, will this be the one and only point of the season for Aston Martin? Who knows? Had to inherit it because of the penalties up ahead of him. But you've got to be there. You've got to finish the race to pick up these points. Fernando Alonso absolutely does that. He's not going to complain. However, he gets that point, a well-deserved point. I'm giving him a 6 out of 10. 11th place man, and just outside of the points in the end, Gabi Bortoleto. And what a weekend for him. It was tough. A crash in Q3 put him out of qualifying. The car did look like it had potential top 10 pace, especially in free practice. We never get to see that materialize. In the race, there was an issue with the car on the reconnaissance lap to the grid. Meant he had to do a pit lane start. They then went for the early pit stop for the hards on lap 1, and then I think the strategy was to run that all the way through to the end. I think they were probably thinking, and what we've seen in Monaco over the years is where people get in the midfield or just within the points, just drive slowly, persevere their tyres and try and get long into the race. We didn't quite see that race in Monaco, did we, this time around? Everybody was giving it kind of what they got, and there was huge gaps opening up between people. So I don't think that would have really worked out for him in the end. And obviously it didn't, because you didn't need to do that. The red flag would have saved him a pit stop had they gone for the strategy of Arvid Lindblad. A difficult weekend for Gabi Bortoleto, though. The crash and not a great race. Obviously not helped with the car not being in the right condition to start. Had to start from the pit lane. I'm giving him a 4 out of 10. 12th place finisher, George Russell, and back-to-back finishes outside of the points for the man that's meant to be fighting for the championship, where his teammate absolutely demolished him this weekend. Another real low for George Russell. He's got to pick himself up quickly if he wants to try and get back into this championship fight. He's got stop beating down on himself a little bit, or just pretending it's all everybody on the whole world is against him. Just sometimes you're just not quick enough, and this was one of them sometimes. He qualified in 6th place while his teammate was on pole position. In the race, he got stuck behind Isaac Hadjar, which really destroyed his race. He then got the 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, compounded by the error of coming into the pits when the team told him to stay out. The team's mistake clearly for changing the tyres and not leaving him for 5 seconds, and that added to the drive-through penalty, which he had to do 3 laps after the restart, and that put him outside of the points. Another weekend, no points. He was looking for, he would have been in P3 but for this penalty, and that you'd think decent damage limitation where the weekend's not quite gone your way, and no points. 25 points more lost, 68 points now to his teammate, and he's got to try and build some momentum now. 5 races in 7 weeks, 5 crucial races for George Russell's championship to try and build some momentum into the latter half of the season. The races are going to come thick and fast, so one good result can rebound and can build that momentum pretty quickly, so we need to turn it around fast. But this one, he was anything but fast this weekend. I'm giving him a 3 out of 10. 13th place man, Nico Hülkenberg, qualified there, finished there in the end. A difficult weekend for him. Potentially, there was opportunities to take advantage of the red flag and safety car. Didn't quite come to materialise for him, and then a clumsy move on Carlos Sainz wasn't really helped because there was a really slow George Russell up ahead of him, which backed up pretty much everybody, because we've seen the 2 Racing Bulls and 2 Williams side by side, and I think he got caught out a lot by that. You can't complain at the 10-second penalty he got for taking out Carlos Sainz and took his 10th place. He did finish in top 10, got the penalty, finished 13th. A bit of a difficult weekend for him and Audi, one to forget. I'm giving him a 5 out of 10. 14th place man, Franco Colapinto, and a difficult weekend for him. He didn't quite get on top of the car this weekend. He was second best to Pierre Gasly all weekend. Also got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane like his teammate. Just everything kind of didn't really fall his way this season. Strategy calls also fell on the wrong side of the safety car for him as well. And yeah, difficult one for him. He's got to bounce back. He's had 2 promising weekends, a bad one, but he's built some momentum, so hopefully that can carry him through and pick up where he left off pre-Monaco, back to a proper circuit in terms of Barcelona, and I think he'll be back there alongside his teammate next time around. A difficult one for him though. I'm giving him a 5 out of 10. 15th place man, Sergio Perez, and you've almost got to feel a little bit sorry for him, but 2 pure driver mistakes at the start of the Grand Prix. He actually took up Gabi Bortoletto's 16th place spot up ahead of him, which was clear. Gabi was in the pits. He just seen the spot, went there and parked his car there, which meant he got a drive-through penalty for that. Despite taking that penalty, he then came in at the safety car restart. He was outside of his pit box, wheels outside of the box or past the marker, and so that was another 10-second penalty for him. He crossed the line, and it would have been Cadillac's first points. And for that, I think you would have given him a really solid result. He was quick this weekend. The car wasn't top 10 pace, but he wasn't miles back. He was comfortably ahead of some of the guys around him, better than his teammates, better than both Aston Martins. And he had the picking of 1 or 2 of the Haas drivers. So really, really good weekend in terms of the driving. Just 2 really kind of rookie mistakes, you've got to say, where he's missed that the starting line infringements on both starts as well, not just the one, which demoted him and cost him and the team a huge point. Difficult one to rate because he was good but you can't make mistakes like that, and sadly I'm giving him a 5 out of 10. Let's get to the DNFs, and the first of them, Carlos Sainz. Unlucky for him, played the team game that got him up into a points position. He's got to thank his teammate Alex Albon for holding everybody back behind him, Nico Hülkenberg being the main one there, and that got him into a top 10. Got away well after the safety car and then really got caught out in the traffic. Not him in particular, just Nico Hülkenberg took him out. And that was the end of his race really from there, because he'd broken his suspension, went around the next corner and then actually got a tap from Franco Colapinto, which seen him spin the wrong way. Luckily, the safety car didn't catch him up, who was also making its way around the circuit. Managed to get it out of the way, so there wasn't a need for another safety car. Disappointing because a point was on the cards. He'd done the job for that, but he got taken out through no fault of his own. I'm giving him a 6 out of 10. The next DNF, the big one, 64 laps into the race, Charles Leclerc met the barrier. He was fuming with the team and the car and the brakes. He didn't take any blame for this accident whatsoever. He said, I'm normally pretty honest with these things, but I'm not taking this one. This is definitely down to the car and the brakes. He absolutely hates them. And it's just been a poor weekend, which started with a real high. Ferrari giving him this multi-year deal. Maybe Ferrari should learn not to give him this deal at the Monaco Grand Prix, his home Grand Prix. It didn't go well for him anyway. And every time, the last 19 times, Ferrari have given their driver a new contract before a race weekend, that driver has not won the race. So, bad omens and all that. I think it's absolute nonsense, but yeah, difficult weekend for him. Mistake in qualifying in his first run. Again, he struggled on these brakes all weekend, and it wasn't just in the race where this really came to the fore. He was making mistakes, outbraking himself, going into the runoff area. He did that at least 2 or 3 times in free practice 1. That problem continued in free practice 2. Happened in qualifying, happened in the race. So a real problem with these brakes for Charles Leclerc, something he needs to get on top of, or the team need to fix, because it was a problem in Canada also. And that's just, yeah, a real downer. Crashed out at his home Grand Prix. A podium was on 3rd place at worst, really, because there were the only 3 cars on the lead lap, was Antonelli and the 2 Ferraris. So it was only this sort of error car issue that really cost him a podium. So should he have taken it more easy? He didn't need to push that hard. It was a 2nd place up against your teammate in the C machinery. It's going to be really difficult to do around Monaco. I think he should have just been a bit more sharper and clever on that one, and taken the podium. A poor weekend for Charles Leclerc. I'm giving him a 4 out of 10. Next along, Lando Norris, 43 laps of the Monaco Grand Prix, and an awful lot of them with a broken car. Eventually, it looked like the battery gave way in that car, kind of like George Russell's did in Monaco, in Canada. Yeah, really difficult weekend for him and McLaren. He was out-qualified by his teammate, got passed by Pierre Gasly in the race, and he was stuck behind him, then tried to play the team game to hold George Russell up and let Oscar go as well. The power unit issue obviously just paid the end of it. A difficult weekend for him and the McLaren team. I'm giving him a 4 out of 10. Next along, Ollie Berman, another DNF for him. A young weekend to forget. Struggled in qualifying, and then the issue in the race. Contact with his teammate. Needed a new front wing. Pit lap 1. On a losing battle. Couldn't really take advantage of any of the safety cars and red flags from there onwards. A really tough weekend for the kid. He'll just be looking to bounce back in Barcelona. I'm giving him a 4 out of 10. Next up, Valtteri Bottas, and another difficult weekend for him. Out-qualified by his teammate Sergio Perez, who's had the better of him for the last few Grand Prix now. And even when the car is up and running for a little bit, he's so slow and so far down. Battling along with the lowly Aston Martins, and I think the car is slightly better than that, as Sergio Perez has proven. Valtteri needs to up his game, but this was another difficult weekend. Retired 15 laps in due to overheating with the car. I'm giving him a 3 out of 10. Then comes Max Verstappen, and well, he didn't get any laps complete, did he? He managed to get around to the pits after a non-start. Effectively, he was lucky that just someone didn't take him out from second place. A real loss to this race. It would have been fantastic to see what he would have done and tried with Kimi Antonelli down into turn one, how he might have held off the Ferraris and how his race pace would have been. We never got to see any of that. You would have seen potentially him try something in the mix, do something to throw a dummy, go super long and force some sort of error or mistake from Mercedes and wish for sort of this red flag safety car scenario, because he had absolutely nothing to lose, and it would have been a who's going to blink first between him and Kimi, I reckon. But sadly, we didn't see any of that, and that's all hypothetical. He produced a brilliant qualifying lap. For all the world, he looked like he might have nicked pole position, but just nipped out by the magic Kimi Antonelli. Hard to judge Max Verstappen. It can only really be on the qualifying lap alone, and that was brilliant. So I'm giving him an 8 out of 10 for qualifying. And then last but not least, Lance Stroll running around at the back, a DNF for him into the wall before Charles Leclerc managed to put it into the wall as well. But yeah, difficult weekend. Way down at the back, out qualified by his teammate, beating his teammate to the first point for Aston Martin. A crash out, a 2 out of 10 for me. On to the predictions review. Well, I had Kimi Antonelli down for my pole position and race win. I'll take that. 2 points there. I had Charles Leclerc and then George Russell to be second and third in both qualifying and the race, but it was brilliant laps from Max Verstappen to take second place, and Lewis Hamilton, no doubt, to take third in qualifying. It was a Kimi, Hamilton and Isaac Hadjar podium. I don't think many would have predicted Hadjar to take the podium here, but he drove brilliantly and well deserved for that. Monaco, you delivered. It was an absolutely cracking weekend. We had all the drama, plenty of penalties, plenty of what might not happen throughout that race, which kept it interesting for the full 78 laps. And Kimi was phenomenal, 5 in a row, and who will bet against him to make it 6 out of 6 in Barcelona? Next up, coming short and fast next weekend. Looking forward to it. Barcelona. Watch out for the preview coming in the next couple of days, and I'll be live for the watch along for qualifying and the race. So please join me there. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a like, and if you're new, please subscribe to the channel. It'll be massively appreciated. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.